Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, hey, thank you so much, guys, for turning in, and thank you, Victor, for being here, pushing your schedule up a bit. So,
No problem.
yep. So, um, it's crazy because like we have had so many registrations, like almost twice as much the ones we have had for a previous webinar. Most likely because of it's you speaking and because of the topic as well. So, and I was like very skeptic about it because it's BFCM season, the holidays. People are going to be so busy, and like 10-15 minutes before the webinar started, we have had people coming in. So I think this is going to be really, really good. So I threw away the introduction. So I'm just going to cut all of that into 3 questions, maybe. So, and I'm going to give you as much time as it permits. So, yeah. So, uh,
Yeah, no problem.
we spoke about this when we first got in touch. You were in Nicaragua, and you were telling me about how you started OmniPrint, what was the circumstance, and I think the larger audience would love to hear that.
Yeah, definitely. So maybe so we got a few people in already. Why don't you guys everybody's on the chat, right? So let us know on the chat where you guys are coming from, and we're gonna do a Q&A, right? We're gonna do a Q&A too. So remember, guys, the quality of your questions determines the quality of your results, right? So always ask the best questions that you can. And I'm here to help you guys and inspire, right? So I'll go through a little introduction. I'll start with a little story, right? Because everybody loves stories. And first of all, thank you, Venkat, for having me here. Let me see. We're live from California. So you got some mic. Oh, there you go. And you guys can hear me all right, right?
Yep.
All right. So check this out, guys. My main mission right now is to inspire you guys, right? So I'll start with a little story, so that why, right? So you guys can see where you can come from and where you can go from there, right? So I'll cut back to a story. I was about 10, 11 years old, and my great grandma, she used to work at a family restaurant. I used to walk there from school to kind of go help out, right? She was in her 80s. And, one day she says, hey, look, there's a bag of pennies in the storage area that nobody wants to go find and get, right? And if you go get them and find them, then, you get to keep what's in there, right? So I said, dude, a bag of cash, I'm going to go look for it, right? So I go, and there's a warehouse where all the signs are out for the restaurant and all that. And there was like a bag of change. It was pennies, right? 1,400 pennies. So, but that she's like, if you find it, it's yours. And at 11, 12 years old, it's kind of like the start of what you're thinking of what you can do, right? So we quickly go. There's a local store. And we took those 1,400 pennies and we bought some gum, cigarettes, back when, there wasn't such drama about it. And candies, all stuff for the counter of the restaurant. And I set up like my first round of inventory of, just things to sell people when they were paying their tab, right? And the thing is, once you get to see that you could take anything, right, and then you could turn it into inventory, turn it into small business. That's when I was hooked, right? And a lot of these things start coming to you later, but I want to share with you guys that because those 1,400 pennies, after a while, I was able to buy some more inventory. I was able to do that, but more importantly, I was able to learn, right? I was able to learn that you can take anything and provide value to others, right? And you can make money doing that. So, after some time, I took those 1,400 pennies into, built a business that's doing over $20 million a year in revenue. We empower business owners globally to thrive with our print on demand. And that's, if you guys ever seen like t-shirts that say it's wine o'clock, or, executing billionaire moves or whatever, people that sell on Etsy, that's the stuff that we do. So I want to share with you guys over the next few minutes a few different things, but three main strategies that help me, that that can help you be successful, right? So, and this will work with you if you're just starting, right? If you don't know what you're going to do, if you're in the middle of the road, also if you already have something that you're selling, and it also help you if you have some big money coming in, you're already on your way to making it. These three things will help you, right? Because my mission is to empower you guys to thrive, right? So I'll start with number one, right? We'll get right to it. If you look at education and investments, the number one investment is going to be in yourself, guys. So you guys that a lot of you guys are already here, right? So kudos to you for being here, for learning, right? You have to invest in yourself. It's the number one thing that's going to pay you back, right? So and the next part is you're going to be learning things from other people. Find mentors, right? Find mentors that are going to help you. Even if you have to pay them, right? Even if you have to pay them, that's the biggest hack that I ever found, right? Where you can find a mentor that's done it, that's done what you want to do, right? Follow them, go deep with them, right? And you'll be surprised on what shortcuts you can take, right? So my overnight success took me 16, 17 years. And you can do a shortcut by finding people out there that are already doing it, right? So we'll go on to the next thing, number two. Sales. I'm going to talk to you guys about sales. Strategy number two, all right? Sales cures all, all right? So number two, sales cures all. So if you guys are thinking, hey, I want to do something, but I don't know what I'm doing, and all that. Number one thing you have to do, if you have a takeaway from this second strategy, is start building a flow that turns audience into customers that you can repeat over time, right? So look at if whatever you guys are selling, whatever your service is, if you have 10 people, you have to know how many you're going to convert into a customer and then be able to repeat it, right? So a big takeaway is just have a sit down and start documenting what you do to create revenue, right? Because it's one of the most important things in your business. You can't invest, you can't do anything if you don't have a top of the line, sales funnel that's coming in. All right. So we'll move into strategy number three, guys. People do not cost you money, right? So, and this was a difficult one for me, right? Because everybody is in mode where, oh, I need to save money on payroll. But the reality is you need to find people that can align with the mission that you're doing. Every single person that you bring on board will make your company money, right? So remember that. Don't think about that, these are the things that, don't think of it as an expense, right? Think about it as an investment, right? But this is the number one takeaway of this third strategy, guys. Make sure that you create a plan, an onboarding plan, what your employee, what your team member has to do, what are the 3 or 4 measured priorities in order for them to be successful. Don't try to hire somebody and try to make them solve your problems, right? They're there to help you achieve your goals, right? So the strategy number 3 is people don't cost you money, all right? So remember, mentors, right? Strategy number 1. Strategy number 2, sales cures all, right? And 3, make sure that you really hire people or have people that bring you in, right? So that's super important. So everybody's telling you guys, hey, you gotta hustle, and you gotta, don't sleep, team no sleep, right? But the reality is you have to hustle smart, right? I'm doing it differently, right? I get my 8 hours of sleep, right? I work out, I spend time with myself, but make sure that you guys are doing it. You're doing the hustle smart, right? Because you want to picture a day when you're being successful, when your business is to the next level, right? You want to picture a day where, you know, your family's telling you, hey, you crushed it, right? So that's where you want to get to, right? But there's certain things that you got to do to plug into people, right? Plug into people that are already doing it. Make sure that you focus on that and build a team that can you know, help you, right? So moving on from that, guys, you know, this is a you know, a closing story. Remember, I've been thinking about stories that kind of got me to where I'm at, so I could share with you guys, right? And I remember I used to have a couch in my old office, and it was like 10, 11 o'clock at night, midnight sometimes. And the reality is I would take my laptop to my desk or to my couch because I still felt guilty. I needed to get some more results. It's that hustle thing, right? But that night, like, it was different. I realized that I needed to get results, right? Because I was already tired anyway, so I always would go and watch Netflix and Family Guy and stuff like that anyways, right? But I decided to reach out, get mentors, get with people that already had been doing it big, and that was a big you know, way that stuff changed, right? So that point, I left all that hustle, all that stress behind, and focused on success, focused on building a team, and you know, you guys can do the same thing. So make sure that whatever that you guys are doing, follow those three things, because it could get you to your next level. You know, my goal is to empower you guys and to help you guys be successful, and find mentors. If you need me to be your mentor, follow me. You know, Venkat will give you guys my information. We'll post it up here. You know, we'll go to some Q&As, right? So that's kind of a little bit about, you know, my journey, guys, and I wanted to share those three things with you guys. And now we can go through some Q&A. If you have some, Venkat, for me as well, I'm happy to help you guys, you know, win with whatever you guys need.
So we have a question already from Patricia. She asked, what if I don't have any idea about what kind of business I want to do?
Well, you know, luckily, guys, back when I started, there wasn't that much, you know, available of knowledge, right? So number one, you know, I gotta tell you guys, everybody says, hey, look, follow your passion, look at what you love to do, follow your hobby and turn it into a business, do something you love, right? The reality is, I did it backwards. You know, I did something that I felt that I could do and could bring in some income, right? And then I fell in love with it, right? It was backwards. So one recommendation would be, like, start looking at, like, YouTube University is nuts. There's so much stuff on there now that you can do. Find out what resonates with you and try a few different things. You know, there's like, and plus there's so many things that you could do. You know, marketing, social media management, you know, you can do drop shipping, you could do a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't even available before. But it all starts with doing one thing. So that's a great question.
So we have another question. So what do you recommend when a business is at a standstill?
Yeah, so I break it down into three main parts, right? Like what's your flow like? So you know, I need more information, right? But look, what's your flow, right? Your flow, like, how do you get customers? And then how's your conversion? How do you convert customers? How do you turn them into a sale? And then once you do that, how do you retain them? Right? So you have to start thinking about why is it that I've been doing the same amount of sales every year, right? There's got to be a reason. Either you're not doing as much promotion, maybe you need to change the offer, right? Or do some other stuff, right? So it's a great question. It happens at several stages in your business cycle, right? And it happens to big businesses also, right? So you have to pivot and you have to pour more into promotion and get more people in your funnel.
So, Victor, do you remember your first sale?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Getting your first sale, right? So we sell machines, right? Our machines print on apparel, and they're used for that. So you have to, at the beginning, I didn't have the money yet to build one, so I had to like sell it first, based off of the pitch, right? Based off what the value of the product can do to somebody. So I remember my first sale because literally it was a table and there was no machine on it. Okay. So I told the customer, hey, picture this machine here, picture what it can do. And I had to have them trust me to take the leap and pay me, right? So that I could turn around and take it and build it and then deliver it, right? So focusing on your first sale is super important. As a matter of fact, if you could do one thing and just focus on your first 10 customers, then that will help you grow and that will help you start making a process. And it's why is that, right? Why to say, oh, start with your first customer or start with your first 10 customers is because it helps you with what's called product market fit. It means that people actually want what you're selling, because sometimes we fall in love with stuff, but there's no market for it. And we hustle, we work hard, but there's no fit, right? So make sure that you're always selling and have a product that somebody wants to buy. If that's not the case, then you won't get to your 10 sales, right? Or you might get there, but it will take years, right? So that's important. So that's a great question.
So a question about how you started. So we kind of touched upon this like when we first spoke, but if you could point towards specific challenges that you faced, particularly when scaling your business, what would you say?
So that's a great question. So there's always like challenges at certain revenue levels of a company, right? So there's been challenges like all the way through, right? From 0 to 1 million, 1 million to 3 million, 5 to 8, and so on, right? So you'll have challenges along the way. But the most important part for me was getting ahead of the challenges, right? Because you're gonna run into, like, for example, right now, we're in a place where we import parts, right? It's challenging to get stuff. The ships are stuck at the port, right? So those kind of challenges, you have to see them. You try to do them head on, right? So what we did is we brought more inventory last year. We're out there like, working with our customers on delivery times, keeping in connection with your customers. Everybody knows what's going on. And then, right now we have everything in stock. Luckily we had been manufacturing here in California for some time. But you're going to run into supply chain issues. After you're selling enough product, you're going to be like, well, how much can I get more of it so that my customers can get it faster, right? And that's going to keep happening. Or as you're growing the business, you need more team members. How do I interview enough team members and find the mindset of the ones that will come in and be a positive team member and also want to grow in the mission, right? So that's an important part, guys. So you're going to run into challenges, just they're going to be different at each stage and you have to recognize them. That's why getting into programs, finding mentors, there's so much stuff about scaling and the S curve and what happens in certain revenue tiers, right? That you can find out there and that wasn't available before, right? So make sure you're aware which tier you're in and what you can do to get ahead of it.
True. We've got a really interesting question, like I was going through the chat and this kind of popped out. So Edwin asks, how do I get a customer to trust my brand before I even start selling anything as a new online store?
So it really depends like what your brand is and what it is, right? So for example, the number one tool that you guys can start using is social media, right? Lean in. If you guys search for OmniPrint, at OmniPrint International, you will see what we do in social media. You can start just by telling your story, right? Instagram, make sure like if your stuff's on private, guys, make sure that you have Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, everything, and start documenting your journey, and start getting followers from there of people that already trusting you. And then you could totally work on that, and they'll start trusting you and build an audience. And don't forget TikTok. TikTok is huge right now. If you set up TikTok and you say, hey, I'm starting this business, maybe you don't have to dance around. I'm not a big dancer kind of guy, but you could share people what you're doing. That starts building trust. And right now, people are looking for that authenticity, right? People are looking for, how can I trust this person? And then you could take that same audience and sell them whatever, right? Tea, coffee, T-shirts, whatever, right? But if they're already trusting you and you have that big follower base, nothing is more cost effective right now than social media, right? So that's a great question.
It's so true. Like particularly when we have like we are inundated with so much TikTok dances, social media posts, and all of those things. Authenticity is a rare commodity, right? So in fact, like before you joined, like I was speaking to one of our attendees here, Megan, I think. So she was having trouble with consistently posting on social media. So between her kids and family and her business, it kind of becomes pretty difficult to juggle all around, do all of those things.
Yep, tell me about it. Yeah, it's you guys have to realize, like, yeah, entrepreneurship is sexy right now, right? It's like the thing to do. But remember back when I started, remember when you had like family members, you're a kid and you're like, oh, that guy's an entrepreneur. Back in the day, that meant like unemployed, right? That person did not have a job yet. They're still trying to figure it out. It wasn't sexy, right? Now being an entrepreneur is like the thing to do, but the reality is you still have to build something. You have to have the grit because it's brutal, right? And nobody like really tells you guys that, but I'm telling you, like, it's brutal. So if you like Tyson says, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face, right? If you can't handle getting punched in the face over and over again and overcoming going through that wall, entrepreneurship's not for you, right? But that doesn't mean that you can't do something big, because there's also what's called an intrapreneur. An intrapreneur is like number 2 or number 3 right-hand person at a company. Think about like, the people that build Microsoft, right? They're not they're the main owner, but they're number 2, number 3. They're also billionaires, right? Why? Because they could thrive in an organized environment. They could get the job done, right? If that's you, then align yourself with an organization that you can grow with, and you could be a intrapreneur inside, right? So that's another way of looking at it, because remember, like I said, guys, everybody thinks, hey, I wanna do something big, but if you can't push through, if you just don't have it, that's not a big deal. You have something. You have talent at something. You just gotta try and find out what it's at, and then push through for it, right? And luckily, there's so much stuff now that you can develop your skills with. You can tell right away what fires you up, what you're good at. Can you sell something and bring value to others, right? That's an important key. All right, what else we got?
So you said entrepreneurship is brutal. So I have a question. You can choose to not answer this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So
I love it.
Was there a point in time, particularly during the initial stages, when you felt, oh my God, this isn't working, I don't know what I got myself into? Was there a point when you felt that way?
So check this out. This is going to be a shocker, right? This still happens to me all the time, right? It still happens to me all the time. I have these big goals, big targets, and like every time, like I told you guys, there's setbacks. I'm like, I'm training myself more and more with my mindset, but you always get into that mode of, hey, like, man, what the hell am I doing, right? This didn't work out. This is not working. That's not working. If you get yourself in that mode, then like it's constantly happening. You have to what now the muscle that I've developed is recognize when I'm going into that mode and focus on pushing through, focus on what you can control, right? And focus on what the targets are, right? So focus on what your mission is there. What are you doing there, right? So once you start focusing on that, then it helps you push through, right? So the short answer is this is going to keep happening to you guys all the time.
So, and like when you get past all of those setbacks, there comes a point of time, like I can remember, we were consistent. We were like every day I wake up and I look at the number of installs that we've got. So, and like you keep refreshing it, say if it's going up. So I still do. So I still do that every single day. So so when was it that you realized that you have made it? Like it could be when you made the first million, or was there a non-monetary point in your entrepreneurial journey when you figured that you have made it? Like, okay, this is sweet success right here.
Yeah, that's a great question, right? Because a lot of people think that making it is like this one event, right? This one singular event where you're like sit down and you pop a bottle of champagne and you're like, man, I made it. Bam, everything's great. The journey for me hasn't been like that, right? So I still feel that I haven't made it, right? Why? Because you said you look at your downloads every day, right? I look at my goals every day, every morning. I spend some time in the morning for myself. I look at my goals, and my goals and targets are big. They're hard to get to for a reason. Because I need to be striving for more. I can't be sedentary and saying, hey, I achieved this goal, now I'm going to chill. Because we want to help millions of creators thrive with print on demand, right? That's millions of people. We want to do it with 3,000 team members, and we want to be $1 billion organization, right? So those are big targets. So I'm not reaching them yet. So I celebrate milestones, but I still haven't felt like I made it, right? So and what's the main point of this, right? What's the main moral? Is that don't set targets too low, because, for example, if $1 million is your target, remember, like most people can't make it with $1 million, right? Half of it goes to taxes, right? Expenses are going up. So like if you're thinking that's the target, start 10xing that, right? Start looking at 10, start looking at 100, and it'll expand your possibilities. So that's kind of how I approach it. The reality is, I'm doing this for a bigger purpose now than just the cash. But you have to get there at some point. You don't get there at the beginning. At the beginning, you need to eat and you need some cash, right, to start flowing it. So just think about it like that. Let's see. I got a couple questions on here that you're seeing. Catalea, how should I select the correct mentor? What type of questions should I ask for, right? So great question. Number one, like select somebody in your space that's doing it big, because the reality is whatever it is that you want to do, somebody's already done it. And then from there, somebody's done it big. So follow that person if you resonate with them, and then go deep into their content, right? I told you guys in the top 3 things, mentors are important, but go deep into the content, into 1 or 2, depending on what those pillars are that you're trying to learn. What happens is a lot of people go and they follow 12 mentors with different ideas, and then you get confused. So try not to do that. Go deep into one, and then lastly, make sure you are applying the things that you're learning. Don't go to webinars and events and pay for boot camps and stuff like that, and then you go home and you don't do anything, right? It's like the gym membership that nobody uses.
I feel like a personal challenge.
Yeah. Remember that, guys, and that'll help you push through, and you'll see which mentor you start resonating with.
Okay, so we have a question here. So Caro Group asks, who was your mentor and what is your ultimate goal that you want to reach?
Yeah, so I tell you guys, so I have a couple different mentors, right? One of them is Brandon Dawson. If you follow him at Brandon M. Dawson, and also Grant Cardone, like the 10X movement. If you guys follow these guys, you'll start seeing like what else is possible. And one of the main reasons is because you have the promote part, but then you have the business scaling part. That's super important for any business, right? You could get a ton of customers, but if you can't scale it with team and support and all that, then and you can push through the breakpoints of your businesses, then it's really tough to grow, right? So those are my main 2 mentors, and I go in deep with both of them, like I said, and another one is Roland Frazier, that is based on business acquisitions and stuff like that. But I don't do it too wide, right? I consume a lot of content, right, for mindset and stuff like that. But when it comes to going deep, those are my top 3.
Mm-hmm. So, and there is a part 2 to that question. So she also asks, what is your ultimate goal that you want to reach?
Yeah, so like I told you guys, the goal is big, right? So $1 billion organization, alongside 3,000 team members, right? Helping millions of creators. So that's our vision for OmniPrint. I also have a target of 1,000 multifamily real estate units. That's my second business. I invest in real estate because it's how you build wealth, and I have a target of 1,000 units there, right? So big goals, right? So that helps me get up in the morning, helps me get excited to be out there and inspiring you guys to do the same.
Mm-hmm. So, speaking of, you spoke about, not setting your goals too low, right? I think that is the clutch of mediocrity, if I may say. And
Yep.
like the other end of the spectrum also does the same thing, setting too lofty goals. So like we kind of encounter this problem like almost every single day in all aspects of life, not just business. So how do you go about setting these milestones?
Yeah, so remember, you want to set big targets, but you have to be able to do the math and what's going to be your yearly activities and what's going to be your daily activities to be able to get there, right? So for example, we did the math. If we help with 3,000 team members, 1 million creators, right, at our average selling price, then that gives us $1 billion business valuation, right? So that's how we did it. When it comes to real estate, right, I said 1,000 units. My initial goal was just start, right? And then my next goal was 100. So you can keep moving the goal, because if you think you got there and you didn't set your next goal, that's where people go and lose everything, right? You see it all the time. Successful people, they reach a target, they go public, they do this, they do that, right? And they go into depression, they waste their money, they become alcoholics, right? Why? Because there's no new target. So just be super careful. Make sure that you are actually doing the activities on a daily basis that help you get to your goal. And it's something that you can actually calculate. How am I going to get there? Who am I going to call? Who am I going to attract? How many team members do I need? How many of my products do I need to sell per year? That's how you do it. Don't just say, hey, I'm gonna set this crazy goal, but you have not even a path to get there.
Right.
That's a great question.
I have a really interesting question here from Caleb. So he asks, do mentors in the same space or niche see a potential mentee as a competition?
No, not at all. Like this is the thing, guys. If you find mentors that are already doing it way bigger than you are, they're actually more, they're trying to help you. And plus, some of them you're gonna pay, right? So they're really not worried about like you becoming competition. I've never seen that. But you know, my mentors are billionaires. So you have to choose the right people. If you have a mentor that's not working in your best interest, then that's going to be an issue, right? But once you start getting around the circle of people that are doing it big, you'll notice the reality, right? And everybody's heard this, right? Oh, you're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with. Everybody's heard it, but who actually does anything about it? Not many people. So that's what you got to start doing. If you look around and you're the smartest person in the room, you know, from all of that, then you know, you got to realize you got to start hanging around with winners, right? Stop hanging around your people that you grew up with that all they do is complain, right? Start hanging around with people that motivate you. They're doing it big. They're out there. Because the reality, guys, is the mindset, right? They're not thinking of that you're going to take their business or anything like that. They're actually elevating your level of thinking, right? So that's a great question.
Yeah, is it fair to say, you know, if someone starts thinking of you as a competition, particularly when you are seeking mentorship, probably they are not the right person to mentor you?
Exactly. Like, for example, if you're a millionaire and your mentor is a billionaire, do you think they're going to be worried about your million? No, they're going to be like, how do I get you to be the billionaire? So just remember that. So that's a mindset shift, guys. If you're scared about this or that, it's a mindset shift. Start thinking bigger. Follow these like you know, a good one is let's see, John Maxwell, right? Laws of leadership, and what your limitations are, which he calls the lids, right? That's a great one, because that's a big mindset one, big leadership one.
True. So, you know, you know, can I have a show of hands here? Like, you know, we kind of marketed this webinar specifically towards boutiques. Can I have a quick show of hands? Because my next question is, you know, as a boutique, how would I know this is the point in time that I have to think about scaling? I have a smooth set of operations, like everything's well oiled, everything's running smooth. So is there a point in time, or does it just happen? You know, you just start one day, you just put on your big boy pants and you know, I'm gonna scale.
You know, the reality, guys, scaling is a word that's used very loosely, right? It's used very loosely because When I think about scale, I'm thinking about, all right, you want to have a growth that is sustainable. You want to have a growth that's achieving the mission of the business and your mission, right? So scale is going to mean something to you. If scaling means like, hey, I want to do more sales and make more money, right? But you also have to have people and systems to follow it through. Then that's when you have to think about like, all right, I want to scale. The only way you do it is with people and systems, right? And depends on which revenue tiers you are. Like I was saying earlier, if you Google it, or if you look it up on YouTube, there's literally a predefined growth pattern of businesses that every business goes through. It's nuts, because why? We always think that our business is unique. Nobody does it like us. We're the best. All these things. The reality is everything's already been defined for the level of revenue you're going to get to. It's crazy. So if you start getting yourself in that mindset and you think, hey, you know what? My target is 10 million, 5 million, 2 million, whatever that is, then you can bring that back down and plan out what you need to do to scale properly. I've seen scaling done improperly. Like in our business, we call it the kiss of death, right? The kiss of death means that, for example, let's say I come up with a cool t-shirt design. I put it up on Shopify, and it's I sell thousands of pieces a day right away. But I did not plan on selling that much, so I didn't set up my fulfillment. Who's going to print and ship them for me? Who's going to do customer service? Who's going to take the returns? I didn't plan on all that. And the only solution is to go out of business, because you get all the chargebacks. You got to refund people their money. And we've seen that in the apparel space, and it's nuts, right? So you have to understand what the scaling means. The scaling means that you can deliver the product over and over again with a good customer experience to your customers, while scaling your sales. So that's a great question.
Okay, here's one from Caleb again. So, are there times you will take on debt for growth? What is worth going to debt for? Hiring, product, marketing?
Great question. So my first 10 years or so, we did it off of sales, right? So sell first, buy inventory, right? And then push, right? But if you can get debt, make sure that you do it for marketing activities. You do it for inventory, for delivering, right? Don't get a loan to buy a Range Rover, right? Don't get a loan so that you can pay yourself a bigger salary, right? Don't get a loan for employees, right? Get it for marketing, sales activities, and inventory, right? And scaling the business properly. The good part is, I don't know, but a lot of you guys, this happens all over the place. You go and you get a loan, you get denied, right? The reality is banks are very, very smart, right? They're very, very smart. You're not going to get a loan. You're not going to get debt if you're not going to use it for the right things. And guess where it shows up at? It shows up in your balance sheet. It shows up in your profit and loss statements. And bankers are hawks at being able to see what's really going on in your business and what you're going to use that money for, right? So make sure you use debt properly. You got to be able to pay it back and then use it over again to fulfill again, right? But if you're using it for your lifestyle, the cash flow cycle can't close. But if you're using it for marketing and then delivering of a product, then your cash flow cycle will close, because you're selling, you're getting that loan money back, giving it back to the bank, taking your profit, and then you could do it, you could do it over and over again. And remember, don't get with loan sharks and with big rates, right? If you have to do a deal where your interest rates are so high, then your business can't handle that loan, right? Make sure you're getting the best rates out there. And it's something that's overlooked, right? So this is a great question. your bankers are not the enemies. They're actually your friends. You need to start calling your local banks in the area, letting them know who you are, letting them know your story, how you're going to build the business. Why? Because they need growing businesses. Ask them, hey, what do I need to do to get the best loan from you next year? Oh, and they're going to tell you step 1, step 2, step 3. And guess what? If you do these things, next year you're going to do that. So, yeah, you're always personally liable for all these loans. So, guess what? If you fail, they're gonna come after you anyways, right? So, great question about money, Caleb.
Mhm. So, do you guys have more questions? The Q&A box is empty, so we still have like a few more minutes left.
Hey guys, how about on a scale of 1 to 10, how has this been? Give Venkat some love. So put it on the chat on a scale of 1 to 10. How much value are you guys getting here?
Okay.
Some 11s. Come on,
Yeah.
blow it up. Blow up the chat. Yeah, there you go. See, this is the other thing, guys. You guys all that you're in here, right? You guys are in here together winning. So make sure that you guys are networking with each other, right? Make sure you're networking with each other. Make sure that you're following each other on Instagram. Follow me, Victor_H_Pena, at OmniPrint International, Venkat also. Like, these are the types of communities you need to be into because everybody's out here trying to learn. And, Venkat's putting this on so that you guys can get the maximum amount of value, right? Maximum amount of value. So it's a great place to be. And also, if you're in front, like one thing that I could have done better at the beginning is having better questions, right? So if you're in front of somebody that has been doing it, has a lot of experience, make sure you have quality questions, right? Make sure you have quality questions because you're able to get your things answered that some people have to pay, thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes to get answered, right?
Mhm.
That's an important point. Since we talked about mentors, I want to give you guys these tips and these tricks because don't reach out to a mentor if you don't have a specific great question, right? Hold off, right? Don't reach out to a mentor and say, hey, I want to pick your brain. How about this harebrained idea, right? They're not going to respond, right? Think about how you're going to bring value. If you can't pay them, how are you going to bring value? And a lot of it is don't waste their time, have great questions, right? And that's super important thing.
Mhm. So
Great stuff going on in the comments.
yep. So I'm gonna pop open that champagne, I guess, because like we even had a 10,000. So thank you so much, guys, because it's been a huge learning experience for me as well. So this was a really really good session. So I'm gonna I have saved the best question for the last. So okay, Caleb has one more question. So Caleb,
Yeah.
beat me to it. So you mentioned marketing is the number one place to spend it. What channels do you have to use for marketing? Facebook, Google, others?
Oh, okay. That's a great question, Caleb, because I want you guys to really take this in. Okay. Everybody thinks that paid media, paying Facebook, Google, AdWords, all this stuff is going to make you rich at the beginning, right? I don't want you to focus on paid media just yet if you're just starting, right? Because it depends on what your product is and where your persona of your product, where they are, where their eyeballs are, is where you should market. I want you to have a great product page. I want you to sell organically through your social media first. I want you to know who your customer is, how you're targeting them, right? Before you start building ads, before you start spending money on ads, because a lot of people spend money on ads, right? And they quickly lose money and they get shy about doing it again. They say, hey, Facebook ads is no longer working, right? YouTube ads, Google AdWords doesn't work. It works, but you have to have the right offer in front of the right people. with the right content. And how do you know that if you haven't done it organically, right? So, but you know, that's the correct answer to that question, Caleb. And the follow-up to it is all of these social media and paid ad platforms work if you have the right formula to get your return, right? So great question.
That is so true. I see a lot of people spending so much money on Facebook ads, when they have not nailed the offer down. The audience is not, it's not right, for the lack of a better word. So, and what you said is exactly, it's the truth. So,
Yep.
so if you could travel, say 17 years back in time, go to young 22-year-old Victor and give him one piece of advice, what would you say?
Yeah, but build a team fast, right? Don't do it yourself. Build a team fast. Start being that solopreneur. Nothing happens right there. You only have those 24 hours a day. So you might as well leverage it with a lot of team members, right? That's the number one thing, right? So if you're alone, you're stalling yourself. Damn, Mauricio should be up here. That's great stuff. Seriously, if you're doing it alone, you're going to burn out. Get people that align with you, get people that want to do it big like you, get people around the same mindset, positive ones, right? And then that's the biggest thing I would have done earlier on, which I don't do any ventures now that don't have a big team component to it.
So I think we are cutting it too close. Okay, so we have two questions here. So Victor, I hope you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem. Let's do it.
Yeah. So the first question, like, how do you shortlist your audience on social media? I think what he means is, how do you find your tribe? How do you find the first few followers? How do you get there?
Yeah. So remember, again, the quality of your questions will determine the quality of your results. If we have to figure out what the question is, then it makes it more difficult, guys. But the reality is, if you start sharing your story on social media and whatever that product is, that tribe will start attracting to it, right? And you'll start seeing, and you go into your insights and you could say, hey, male, female, this is what they are, this is what they like, this is who they are as a persona, right? You could Google it, go on YouTube, how to establish my customer persona, because that's super important. You got to know their age, their sex, you got to know what they do, what their hobbies are, what their interests are, right? What they do on the weekends, and do that first. Yeah, learn exactly who they are, because that's gonna that'll help you reach them and target them on any platform, right? And plus, when you do content, make sure that you're actually doing content, right? Do the stories, do the posts, do all the stuff to be able to grow that audience, give them value, because you're going to be speaking, you're going to start realizing who this audience is, and you're going to speak to them.
So one thing that I want to add on to what you said, so kind of answers Naresh's question as well. So the key is to do it consistently. You may not get 100 likes on your first post. I would say, irrespective of that, just start doing, like, pick a cadence, pick a frequency, 1 post a day, 2 posts a day, whatever it is. Start doing it and do it without fail every single day. So I can attest to that. We kind of lost our social media game a while back, and then we started picking it up again. And 1 month of posting, we started doing these BFCM tips, 1 tip a day kind of social posts, and our engagement kind of went through the roof. 30% more engagement in a month. So that's simply
100%. You have to be doing it. You have to be doing it. It doesn't matter about what you see, the likes, the comments, none of that. It's all what I call vanity, right? It's all vanity. If you look at the insights and you look at the eyeballs, like how many views you're getting for like what stuff that you're putting out there, that's free advertising for your service or your product, right? That you're not paying anyone for. And you're learning about what that audience is, who they are, if they're engaging, they're looking at your stuff, right? If you don't do it every single day, then it doesn't pop up on their feed, right? If you don't do it every single day, then the almighty algorithm gods they're not gonna display it to your followers, right? You're not gonna grow. So consistency in everything is key.
Awesome. That like 1 hour just flew by, I guess. So
It does. One thing that Mauricio's bringing up is when it comes to social media, right? Starting the conversation is important. Ask people questions. Once you follow us, we do a lot, but we're about to do 10 times as much, right? We feel like we're not doing anything, right? So see what we're doing, and just copy it, right? Model it. See what like if you have pages that you love and like you want to do it like that, just do what they do, right? Shortcut it. Because doing those conversations help you figure out who this customer is, and it's going to help you target them later when you start having a product. And if you already have a product, then stop trying to figure out what each post is going to make you an income. It's not about that. It's about building that huge community, bringing that audience. Like look at Gary V's strategies, right? Jab, 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 right hook means value, 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 and then every once in a while, bam, you got a right hook of an offer, right? And all of your audience would be happy to buy it because you've been giving them so much value on there, right? So, I don't have an offer for you guys today, right? But if I had an offer for you guys, my job's to bring you value. And bam, I could give you an offer, say, hey, look, join our next marketing boot camp or whatever. If I'm bringing you guys enough value, make sure you subscribe to our channel, follow our pages, OmniPrint International on YouTube, Instagram, everywhere, right? Mauricio, you could put it on the chat. That's how you guys can return some value to me by following and subscribing, hitting up some good comments. Same thing for Venkat. Giving him some love because he's putting this together for you guys to grow, right? So if you want, I'll close with this, right? I'll close with this. I told you guys about the story of my grandma, right? I told you guys about that, the how I got started, how that went, right? But one thing that's super important, guys, I remember I was at a trade show. I was in Atlanta and she passed away suddenly, right? I didn't have time to say goodbye. And I wasn't there, right? And as an entrepreneur, you're going to have those moments. You're going to miss weddings. You're going to miss friends, birthdays. You're going to miss your family events. You're going to miss funerals, right? Entrepreneurship is a lonely journey, right? So make sure that you're focused on big vision. You're focused on results, because you can only go so far missing all these things without having a payout, right? Your payout's your success to yourself. So invest in yourself, find mentors. If Venkat's your mentor, I'm your mentor. Follow us, see what we're doing, and we're going to bring you some value. So I'll leave you guys with that.
Thank you so much, Victor, for it's been one amazing session, and thank you so much, you guys, for staying until the very end. I hope you guys have a wonderful BFCM, and I hope you have a great day, Victor. This has been
thank you guys so much. Sounds good.
Yep.
And there's some links right there on the chat, guys. Have a great day. Remember, we still have a few months left in the end of the year. So crush it. Do what you got to do to bring it home. All right. And have a great 2022.
Mhm.
Bye, guys.